Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is June 18th, and we're going to be taking an in-depth look at TNA. And we're going to start off with our standard layout, which is Guppy. And we will notice that the short-term moving averages are still massively bubbly, all kinds of wobble. We have had an uptick. We are waiting for that to resolve. We have another bar before it either succeeds or fails, and that's just shy of 75. And the market overall has been beat up real bad. So what are we looking for? What does this say? We do have a long-term moving averages have crossed over and are separating for a bearish bar. And that is round about the 77 level. And we do have the previous month's lower price consensus right over here at just above 82, with a full consensus up here at 86. So is it likely that we are going to go back up and hit any of those anytime soon? Well, we have some possibilities that it could. For one, we don't have an uptick right here except for this one from a few days ago. So it would be nice if we did have an uptick showing that we needed to, that we were on our way going back up to try and fix this at the least, and then have some crossover and go test the bar. You know, anytime that you do fall out of the bar, you should have a back test of it. And of course, should we find that ahead of time, you can make good money just on the return to the bar, and which is why we look for upticks and downticks, things of that nature. Well, we're going to pull in some other tools and see what we can find. On secondaries, you can see that the RSI is low, below the 30, stochastic is pointing down, and the MACD histogram is ticking up, and the MACD itself is trying to figure out if it wants to go back up. So beyond that, we are going to use the free version of stockconsultant.com, and we can see that TNA is 75% bullish, 25% bearish, which is nice. But more importantly, according to them, we are oversold, which by itself does not mean that it has to go up. But the important thing is that we are at support, and it is a triple 10. It's very strong. And the resistance above is 73.07. It is also a triple 10, very strong. So, if we were to plug these into our chart, they're saying that we should get right about here. And if we had an uptick, it is almost in the same area, so it is likely that it would reach 73 should we get an uptick or reversal at some point. A lot of that will be determinant upon the news for the euro over the weekend. So could be violently up or violently down. If it were to go down, we have the stochastic down here at just above 64. Stochastic lower Bollinger Band down here at 64, and so that would be an area of likely support. However, if we go back to Stock Consultant, they state that the next support is down here at 58.92. So that doesn't exactly line up with the Bollinger Bands, but that's okay, because we have other tools. We're going to go back to our black box and see what it has to say. Well, the black box says that the minor trend is still pointing down, major trend is still pointing down, and the extreme trend is also pointing down. Not good at all. So it all becomes a question of is the market as a whole going to get a bounce? Well, we have some clues with the black box. And the way that the black box moves is, or functions, is that the minor trend flows around and bounces back and forth, ping-ponging between the major trend. The major trend floats around and ping-pongs off of the extreme trend. Well, we can see that the major trend has left the extreme trend, meaning that we should have a reaction. In addition to that, the minor trend has also come down and pierced the extreme trend and is in contact with the major trend, indicating that we should have a reaction. Now, should this have a reaction, the minor should pop up to go into contact with the major, which is now outside of the extreme. So we know that should that happen and it bounces up, we have an upper target of 85.50. And this extreme target is very curious because for this isn't a function of the major piercing the extreme, which has a reaction and brings it down. We now have the extreme piercing the major, which I don't have enough data to confirm this, but I would theorize that it would need to pop back through the major. And why does it look like this? Well, it looks like this because we've had an extreme move down, one which is twice as large as typically happens. And since these trends are based upon moving averages, they are somewhat skewed due to the extreme nature of the move. So, do we get a bounce? That is the main question. And if we do know that 73 is one target. We know that 77.80 roundabout is another target, and we know that 86 is another target, all of which are highly likely should we get any kind of bounce. Now, if the news over the weekend for the euro is just a disaster and it's going to be the end of the world, then of course we can drop. A reoccurring theme that we have here on Bears in Exile is that news trumps all charts. And to that extent, we're also going to look at one other thing, which is a second black box that we're working on, which is much simpler. It consists of the price consensus, and atypically the price will try to return to its consensus one way or another. And you have the top and the bottom and the median. Median being the strongest, and the others being also things that prices gravitate towards, but not as strong as the median. So we notice that we have the median up here at 86. Well, that makes sense with the other black box that we're using, as it was the top over where the major trend was. We also have this over here at 82, which correlates with which also happens to correlate with the resistance above on stockconsultant.com's site of 82.13. So, I'm sorry, am I looking at the right one? Yes, I am. That is 3 targets above us. And then, of course, they have this one right here in the middle of 86, or 78, I mean, which is right here, which also happens to correlate with the median price from 2 months ago. So, we have correlation between indicators stating that we have definitive price points above us. Well, what if it breaks down? What if the news is bad and And certainly we do have indications that the trend is still down. Um, that this could be sucked back down into the minor trend. Well, we have a major trend line here that goes down to 60. Well, on Stock Consultant's site, you can see that the next support below, should we break major support right now, is 58.92 plus or minus $1.65. That certainly correlates with the bottom major trend here. So that is entirely possible, and it is entirely dependent upon the news. But we can also see on this one is based upon the first black box, but it has been adapted to be faster and simpler to read. So we can see that the major on this one, instead of turning down, is actually turning up, which can be an indicator of indecision and the possibility of going up. And since this one moves faster than the original black box, that also gives weight to the possibility of going up and hitting those targets. So I will be watching TNA very closely. If I see it starting to turn up, if the news is good Sunday night, this is definitely one that will be on my list come Monday. Maybe Tuesday, should it be shaky or whatever. But there you have it. Massively in-depth look at TNA. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video are for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only.